Hello and welcome to the Walk in Love podcast. I'm TJ.
And I'm Brooke.
And today we are going to talk about some recalibration. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making it late on the snap.
Better late than never.
Unacceptable.
Okay.
Thank you for making us a part of your week. I'm sorry, I'm thrown off. Snap.
By my lack of.
Well, you were doing something. You were taking a story, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you for making us part of your week. Thank you for spending some time with us. You've already heard Brooke speak. Voices. We'll get to that. Not now. Next week's episode. I've been really into the idea, and I did it last night during a show. It was like
You're very into the character.
The idea that all of a sudden a show or a movie takes a radical left turn. The character was laying to get an MRI
In the show.
and the doc was like, "This will take about an hour." And I was like, "This
is the remainder of the episode.
Of
Is real-time MRI. It got you in the giggle box.
I just think
Unlike the show.
Yeah. Yeah. So a couple of news updates for you, and then we got some segments, and then we're going to talk the talk. Hopefully that we're walking. See what I did there?
Mm-hmm.
We want to talk the talk and walk the walk. Have you ever heard that phrase?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just making sure you're still with me. First bit of news, we're back on the YouTubes. It's definitely more of a low budget experience. It's not a no budget well, it's basically a no budget experience. Here's the thing.
I mean, the camera is not we paid for the camera.
Yeah, okay.
But it is a webcam. So let's just start there.
Again, there are times in life when it's you just need to make things easy.
Mm-hmm.
And us trying to record the podcast with video, we are at a phase in life where we just need to make it easy. I just need to press one button. Let me make sure I pressed it. Yep. Okay. I got a little butt clench there. And that's it. And so the YouTube is really for you to comment on. You're welcome to watch us.
Sure.
Brooke is gorgeous. I'm also here. Although I did have quite the boost of confidence lately, so I'll get to that story. You're welcome to watch us if that's kind of your viewing, but most people listen.
Mm-hmm.
The reason for the YouTube upload is that you can go and comment on episode specific. So if we ask you a question on this episode,
do you floss your teeth?
You would say in the YouTube comments, "Do I floss my teeth? Yes, I floss my teeth." And then we would know you floss your teeth.
12-1. Blood everywhere.
It's an underrated line.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the question for the YouTube. Not do you floss your
Not
teeth?
mine.
Well, you could throw that in if you want to. Where are you from? Where is the podcast?
Where are you from, or where are you listening from?
Where do you
live?
Where do you live? Yeah. Where do you currently live? I don't need a tale of your time on the Oregon Trail and now you've arrived in Oregon. I just need to know, hey, I live in Oregon.
Okay.
If you live in Oregon. If you don't live in Oregon, don't put that.
Right.
Just put your social security number, your name, and your address. I think
that's all we need.
That's all we need.
Mm-hmm.
No, I just would love to know where people are from. So, anyways, that's the first bit of news. The second bit of news is we are always trying to find out ways to communicate with the podcast audience directly, the podcast family, because you guys are the best. And we really, really mean that. And so one way we're doing it now is we have a way to segment our text group. So we have a big, large text group that you can be a part of. When the shop opens, we send, reminders, and occasionally we'll send a gift card to get some free coffee. But if you text the word podcast to 717-563-6588, you will be put in that podcast segment.
Mm-hmm.
And we will use that segment a little more frequently. So if you don't want any more text from us, don't join the podcast segment. But if you want a few more and maybe some more top secret stuff,
mm-hmm.
that's the segment you want to be in. So just text.
What do I text?
You text the word podcast to 717-563-6588. Do it now. That's pretty good.
That was pretty good.
Okay. Last bit of news. I think that the July tea of the month is live if you're listening to this on the 4th of July. Happy 4th of July, by the way. God bless America, land that I love. Probably get taken down for copyright infringement.
Oh,
if
yeah.
I sing
Because it
anymore.
sounds,
It's just almost perfect.
it's like spot on.
It's almost perfect. It'll be releasing on Spotify later today. The July tea of the month is still live. And if you use the code LIGHT, you can save a little extra. The one that Brooke's wearing has very minimal left. The ice blue one has even less left. The blue one, third less. The yellow one is the best stocked.
Mm-hmm.
The yellow one didn't hit.
Too bright?
I don't know. Let us know in the YouTube comments. See, this is what
Okay.
Are you feeling it?
Let us know. Do you wear yellow?
Do you wear yellow?
And if so, why not?
Wow.
Well, I want to know why not.
Is it because of where you're from? We're going to correlate the responses.
No, it has nothing to do with where they're from. I would say it has to do more with like hair color.
Okay. What color hair do you
Well,
know
like
where
Kim, one of my best friends, Kim, she's pretty blonde. And so she doesn't like to wear a lot of yellow
Okay.
because she feels like it makes her all one color. Shirt,
Wow.
kind of her skin, she's lighter, and then her hair.
Yeah.
She needs contrast.
Okay.
She's going to go for the purple.
Okay. Got it.
Yellow and
Nice.
purple are opposites.
Okay. Last bit of news. Is there any, if you guys are watching or just go and watch a clip, you can see our beautiful set. Behind us is Brooke's conglomerate of beauty counter stuff.
I mean, yeah, it's not even that. I could have made it look cool.
Yeah. But again, we're just going for the press one button,
We're going for the no budget.
no budget look.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's sort of my wardrobe too.
Yeah.
So, any beauty counter news that people need to know about? They can request
Well, in
samples
this
from you,
moment, while I'm speaking, there's still mystery boxes available,
but maybe
which
not.
is cool. I would think that by tomorrow there'd still be a few.
But if you want,
But I know what's in them. I found out,
whoa,
and I was real scared that my information was wrong. But then I was real sure it was right because I saw other people's
confirmed.
confirmed.
Nice.
So I know what's in it. Because it's like they just, curate like boxes of best-selling things.
correlate the curation
They-
of the boxes. Yeah.
Yes, at like a 50% off discount. But they don't tell you what's going to be in it.
Is it good stuff?
It's real good. And I know. So text me and I can tell you what's inside.
Don't text the walk-in lab number.
No, text my beauty counter
Message
number.
Easy Pretty Clean or text her number.
I think that's my only update.
Okay. Let's give a quick voice update.
Yeah, so it's definitely better than last week. I think that's
That's
an accurate statement.
confirmed.
Confirmed. Okay. So
Are we bringing confirmed to the podcast?
yeah,
I'm surprised we haven't until this point.
I feel like we didn't used to do it a long time ago when we were in the basement. I feel like we had something
If someone
like
could
that.
confirm that,
That'd be really helpful.
yeah.
Let us know in the comments. Confirm that for us. So I had my first, appointment. Well, that's not true. I've had appointments,
Yep.
as I've explained before. In these appointments, like they've never looked.
They've never scoped
They
you.
haven't scoped me yet. They haven't looked down in there. So somewhere subconsciously deep within my body, I've been like stressed out because they haven't actually seen it yet. And so they looked inside. The scoping was actually very painful this time, which is weird because usually it's not. And the doctor was pleasantly surprised that it looked really, really good.
Greatness.
Those were his words, which it honestly kind of shocked me. So regarding the surgery, things look great.
Yes.
Regarding maybe like I got sick or
Well, he did say that.
I have some weird allergy here that's showing up, or like he said, you look really red and inflamed, but that has nothing to do with the surgery.
Yeah.
So I need to kind of figure that out.
So it's good news.
It's good news.
And we're just continuing to believe for total healing and voice restoration. And so if you guys can pray with us in that, that would be amazing. And yeah, I don't get the vibe that this doctor is a believer. I don't know if you,
I don't know, but
we
usually if they, because I'm almost always wearing a walk
Yeah.
on left shirt, and we talked about it because I was explaining to him, I sounded really good a few weeks ago on our podcast, and I know that I sounded good because I have a recording of it.
Yeah.
I can play it for you if you need to hear it. So then he asked me about the podcast, and I was wearing a Consider It All Joy shirt. And usually, if they're a believer, that's their intro to like, oh, I like your shirt, or
Oh yeah, where do you guys go to church
Yeah,
or something like that? Yeah.
but I don't know.
So I'm believing for just total healing and miraculous recovery to proclaim the goodness of God in the land of the living. Okay. So that is the update section. We also have we have new songs on both playlists. I'm going to add some to the worship playlist and to the regular playlist, link in the show notes or on the YouTubes. And we are starting a new segment today, and I don't have a jingle for it.
No. To be honest, though,
We've kind of done this segment
you're
before.
just naming it something.
So
Except we don't have a name.
this has been requested a few times. People have requested to know my opinion on television and movies.
Yeah.
So what
Is it considered a hot take, or does that mean it's like spicy off the cuff?
I mean, most movie reviews are like a hot take because it's not like you analyze the film over and over again. You watch it once and you're like, here's my opinion. And so I'm going to preface, what I think this is it.
Okay.
What we're watching. Like that's a screen turning on. Sounds like a shattering. What we're watching. TVs don't make noises.
No. It's just silence for the rest of this episode as we wait for our TV to turn on.
I should find a DVD player
Oh,
and use the sound of
it.
the VHS
the
going
tray
in or
coming
the
out.
tray coming out. Either of those would work.
Mhm.
Let me.
Really, it's what you're watching.
We watched some stuff together.
Well,
Barely. Also, I need to apologize. I got a new computer, and the Stream Deck, which is what we use as our soundboard, is not set up. And it's on my, if you watch on YouTube and you've zoomed in, it's on my list behind me of things I need to do this month. So I promise the sound bites are coming, and they're going to be glorious, but I'm just not there yet. So let me preface what we're watching. So it's funny. I could give some theology that people disagree with, and they'd be like, oh, everybody's got their own thing. I could say I don't like a movie that someone likes and be murdered for it. So let me just preface with this. If you like a movie that I don't like, that's cool.
that's okay, you guys.
Yeah, that's okay. We can still be friends. I mean, internally I'll judge you forever, but
I was gonna say, from a distance, I don't want to hold your hand at any point, but okay.
I will also say in the most pretentious, obnoxious ways that I went to film school. Did you even go to film school? No.
Oof. No, but I actually like that you say this, because you're like the least pretentious person I know. You've worn those same shorts for 40 days straight. I don't think pretentious is on the table right now. But you did go to school. I did
go to school. I studied film. I believe I'm pretty knowledgeable. One of my favorite things to watch on YouTube is other film critics that I like, and that I feel like, oh yeah, they like that movie, so do I. Sometimes I disagree with them, but guess what? I still watch them. My all-time favorite thing to watch on YouTube is pitch meetings, which I've talked about before. So, all that to say, what we're watching.
I don't even know how to make the DVD sound.
Yeah. Okay.
What about what we're watching with our eyes?
Oh, I like that.
You like that?
Yeah, because
I like this, eyes.
So it's got a little Mount Rushmore vibe to it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so watching a few things. First, we talked about last week. We're watching The Chosen.
Yep.
Very slowly getting through season 1 because it is so emotionally intense for us that we are legit, and I'm not exaggerating. I am crying harder than I cry at the Golden Buzzers. And I cry pretty hard at the golden buzzers.
Mhm.
Well, no, I don't cry. I get teary-eyed at the golden buzzers, and I have to wipe my face. I have to wipe the
With your
tears
shorts, yeah.
with my shorts on day 41, because I'm definitely wearing them tomorrow. But the episode that we watched last of him calling the fisherman, I was like
It was like ugly
it was
cry.
like ugly cry,
Ugly weep.
you like got the breath knocked out of you. You're like,
Somebody get mom.
so hands down, 100% recommend.
Yeah.
100%. I also took the girls to go see Minions yesterday, the new Minions. Don't recommend. It felt like, so I really like the first Despicable Me. I think since then they've been meh. The thing I appreciate about it specifically is like so much kids stuff is now like super politically motivated and intensely message driven instead of story driven. And Minions was not that. It was just like a dumb,
So from that perspective,
I can appreciate it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want your cultural politics in my kids' movie. I don't want them in my regular movies, but I definitely don't want them in my kids' movies. And so I will do a hard pass on anything like that. So like by default, Minions was free of that, which was very enjoyable to me. The only thing that wasn't enjoyable was the actual movie. It felt like, again, it felt like one of those movies where they don't know what story they're telling. It's a difficult story to tell because they're trying to tell a story where the bad guy is the protagonist, but it's not like a Deadpool sort of scenario where it's like, oh, he's an anti-hero and he can say bad words and do bad things, but it's like part of his shtick because it's for kids. So the good guy is actually a bad guy and he's a kid, but the bad guys are worse bad guys. But if we're telling this story that this little kid bad guy is actually kind of good
underneath,
then we
aren't
kind
the
of have
other
to,
people good underneath?
And so it's like this very sort of confusing story of who's actually the villain, who's actually the hero. And then the Minions are in it and they almost have their own sub movie within another movie. It's too many characters. Sunny actually didn't like it. June gave it sort of like a half, 2 thumbs up, 2 thumbs down. That's kind of our rating system we do with the kids. And I love that our girls have opinions. Like I want them to be, June was actually the other day trying to ask a question. She's like, do you think, ask with confidence. Do you think we could watch a movie? Like I love that. And she kind of gave it like a middle of the road. And so overall, I wouldn't probably take your kids to it. I wouldn't spend the money on the movie tickets. Like if it's on streaming, I would probably let them watch it again, but it wasn't one that was like, like Sing 2 was one of the previous movies we had seen in the theater. Excellent movie. Yeah. And it just like didn't hold a candle to that. So that's the one thing that we watched. Brooke and I also started last night The Terminal List, starring Chris Pratt on Amazon Prime. Yep. A grown-up show.
Very much so.
100%. First thing I've ever seen Chris Pratt in that has like a grittier feel to it. Like he, obviously he was Andy Dwyer, super goofy, and then, like Star-Lord and the Jurassic Park character, those to me feel like very like cookie cutter action figures. So like it's not like some sort of gritty like there's a formula for those types of movies that sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. But like he's grittier in this, which I felt was like kind of a unique role to see him in. The show is very intense, but I thought it was really well done and executed. It felt like we're at one episode in, it felt like a feature film. And it felt like, again, void of sort of this like undertone of political messaging, which again is always a plus in my book. And it's based on a book written by Jack Carr, I think he was a sniper. And so like, it's a military movie, I think from a actual military perspective. Yeah. And so far I'm into it. There it is. That's what we've been watching. With our eyes. And so I will piggyback off that with my strong feelings. You coming closer?
I was just trying to move in.
Get in the shot. So we grew up watching Disney films. Lion King, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid. some amazing films came out during our childhood. We're so good. Sorry. My screensaver came on. Low budget.
No budget.
No budget. Okay, so Disney released some really good films when we were kids, and we watched them over and over again on VHS in those big plastic containers.
Mm-hmm.
Then Disney thought, movie theaters are going to die. Let's go straight to home video, and let's make sequels for all of these classic characters. Little Mermaid 2, Aladdin 2, whatever it's called, Lion King 2, like
Beauty and the Beast.
And they are all almost unwatchable.
Mm-hmm.
Like bad.
Yeah.
Like when June or Sunny asks if they can watch Little Mermaid 2 and it's on the screen as an option, I say, that one's not working.
Yeah.
I lie to my children's faces because it's so bad. God, please forgive me. And so then they kind of, that was a bad phase for Disney.
Yeah.
Pixar came along, kind of saved Disney, and then Disney started, buying up other brands and stuff like that. I feel like we are now entering another bad phase. So we had the Pixar lineup for years, which was Lights Out,
Mm-hmm.
Toy Story, Monsters Inc., Cars, Up, Wall-E, like just some really good feature films. Coke, again, Onward. And even up until recently, like, Soul came out not last Christmas or 2 Christmases ago, and that one was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like we've now entered the equivalent of the
at-home
movie Disney phase for Pixar. The Turning Red movie is unwatchable. Like, even my kids don't want to watch it again.
Yeah.
And from what I hear of Lightyear, it's equally as bad.
Yeah.
So those are my feelings, that they're strong, and they're strong feelings. And I wish that people would just make movies that are entertaining to entertain people, much like one of the greatest movies ever made, Top Gun Maverick. So
did half of me think you were going to say Con Air? Yes.
Well, I mean, people should know that.
That's a given.
Yeah,
Con Air's already on the table.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, we're looking at the pedestal. We've got Top Gun Maverick, that's on there. We've got Con Air, and we've got Face Off. Those 3 movies make the perfect film. If somehow we could combine those two.
Whoa.
Because Con Air and Top Gun, those are already in the air. Let's do a mashup. Let's do a collaboration. Let's get Nick Cage in there as a ex-convict that was wrongfully accused. And he said, put the bunny back in the box. Like, there are some moments there. And then maybe Nick Cage.
And then take his face off.
Take his face off and switch
and
to
put
Tom
Tom
Cruise. And we've got movie magic, baby. Man, that gets in it.
It's a good thing we record this. YouTube's going to call us. They're going to ask to buy our idea off of us. Somebody call YouTube. Get them down here.
So those are my strong feelings.
Mm-hmm. They are strong.
They're very strong. Spicy.
Mm-hmm.
What are yours?
My strong feelings?
Yeah.
I don't really have any. I mean, I do.
I live in sort of.
I sort of live
with
in an internal strong feelings. Do I have any specifically in this moment?
No.
No. I will say that, like, I guess, sure. I've got strong feelings. They're more like
really
they're more like
on that.
hard feelings, which is just like, and I'm gonna use a word you don't like, but sometimes the healing journey just sucks.
Oh yeah, sucks is a bad word in my house growing up.
So I won't say it again. But
yeah. Sorry, Mom
I don't know.
And Dad.
Like
my mom and dad
just
listen, so if you guys could forget Brooke, that'd be great.
Thank you. Yeah, it just does. Like, you want it to be linear or to be one way or straight or faster, and so many times it feels like, and I'm talking about like physical healing of my voice, but it could be it could be grief, it could be any sort of healing, big picture, and it just like, it's not. It's like 1 step forward, 2 steps backwards, to the left. Where am I going?
To the right.
Spin me around.
Cha-cha, no, yeah.
Oh, really far forward. Oh, I'm in the water. How did that happen?
2 steps back, yeah. No,
Cha-cha, real smooth. Rest of the episode. Us just singing that song, which never ends.
Literally never ends.
You're like, oh, this is it.
This is it.
We're
almost done.
And take it back now, y'all.
That's true. And I know that you're feeling that, and I know that you're
mean, I'm grateful that I both feel and
Yes.
sound better than last week, but like, I still don't sound great. It's not the most comfortable thing all the time.
Yeah.
And so it's just annoying.
I'm sorry.
Mm.
But those are your feelings and they're strong.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have those strong feelings. And I know that when Brooke is feeling more up to it, there have been, I would say, episodes churning inside of her that I
Yes.
think are going to, again, just kind of preach to some people out there in the audience. So
Yeah, I need to have my voice fully back because I'm guaranteed to probably weep during
like
those
chosen
episodes.
weep or golden buzzer
well,
weep?
I don't know, actually.
That's the scale.
That's the scale. Okay, so it's chosen, golden buzzer, having your own baby. Like, that's in there somewhere for sure. Actually, I don't know if I cried.
No.
I don't think I did.
Well, you definitely cried when June came out.
Well, that was a different form of crying, and that's in episode whatever it's called.
Whatever. Courage over fear. Birth story.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Anyway, yeah, I need my voice back because I know I'm gonna cry, and then that makes it harder to talk.
yeah. So they're coming.
Not yet.
And and then the last segment we want to do, which I don't have the soundbite for, is game changers. Changes to the game in a way that the game can never be played
the same way again.
And so if you can see on YouTube, behind Brooke's head is a whiteboard, which is in our office and kind of lives in our office, and we do lots of things with it. But we have one of my game changers is we have a weekly meeting on Monday. It's much more business. It's more of a business-minded meeting. We talk about family and life and all the things, but we definitely come into it with like a business attitude. Like, it's not like, how are you feeling or what are your emotions? It's more like, what do we need to get done? What's on the calendar? How much money do we have? That kind of stuff. It's been super helpful. But one thing that I felt like was missing from it was a look forward, not at our, because we look forward at our schedule, but just something that was like, what is the primary focus of this season that we're in, or this period that we're in, or this month, or whatever. And so this last weekly meeting, I said, why don't we just talk about July? Because we had kind of been talking about July in terms of like, I knew I was going to turn my smartphone into a dumb phone, which I'll talk about. And then I knew that we have some Brooke's parents are coming at the end of July, which usually means we want to do a few house things. And so I was like, what is the focus for us? And so what we did, which you can't really see, which doesn't really matter, but I'm just going to turn and read it. At the top, we have July focus, and we have the word home. We have walk in love. We have Brooke's beauty counter. We have family, Brooke, TJ, June, Sunny, Daisy. And so what I wanted to do, and again, we're just testing this out, but already I can sort of feel the magic of it. And when I think about 12 of these a year, then you start to really think like, okay, this is definitely going to help our family and help our family do things that are important and that matter. And so for home, we wrote peg shelves and deep garage clean. These are two things that have been on the list that we've wanted to get done, but just because of life. And so for our house, our literal home where we live, to us, it's like the month is a success if we get these two things done. Now, this doesn't mean we're not going to clean, we're not going to cook, we're not going to do other things in our home, but it's just like something extra outside of the normal way of life that would make a difference. And the peg shelves are halfway there. The garage has been sort of deep cleaned. It's been prepped to be deep cleaned. And then for Walk in Love, we wrote down great podcast because we feel like
I feel like we're nailing it with the no budget.
I mean, it's pretty close, but we definitely want to value those of you who choose to spend time with us every week. And we try to do that. But there are times where it's like, what are we going to talk about? Are our brains even working? And you've heard those episodes.
So sorry.
So sorry. And so we want to try to make an effort, make more of an effort. We do make an effort, but try to make more of an effort to make sure that that we take this seriously, and we want to hopefully teach and inspire and do good things with the platform that we've given.
Yeah.
And then for all, I won't read all of them, but then like for Brooke, it was like, we were talking about July, and I was like, well, how are you feeling? She's like, honestly, I just feel tired and worn out. And I think that's both emotionally because of the voice, physically because of the voice. We have 3 young children, which is exhausting just by itself. We run a business from home. Like there are just elements. And so I was like, well, why don't we just make July, your focus in July, a consistent bedtime early, earlier than you normally do. And we'll just do that and see what kind of difference it makes. And so like for us,
like
this
test and measure 101.
this focus thing is basically like part focus, part tinkering is the way I would put it. And I don't know, but like just having it written here, like we come in the office every day, and to me it's like, oh, this is good stuff. And so then for me, my word, and then I'll stop reading them. My word was groundwork. So I feel, and this is going to be the bulk of the episode, I feel like so much of life, for most people, I don't think I'm alone in this, feels very thin. Like we're doing very thin things. We're not doing anything very deep and fulfilling or
thin as in like surface level.
Surface level, like, you know, like I post an Instagram. I do that for work, but that feels very thin to me. Mm-hmm. The podcast is something that feels deep and enriching. You know, like we make a reel of us changing quickly. That feels very thin to me. Is it important? Yes. I'm not negating some of these thin things. Like I make lunch for my kids. It feels very thin to me, you know? And so I felt like this need to kind of not eliminate thin things, because I think, again, you need those things in life. They're a necessity. Like my kids need to eat. I need to make them quesadillas, thin quesadillas. And so I'm not negating those things, but what I felt over the last like month, like in January, we always take a month off of our phones, really off of social media, and it's very clarifying and clearing and helps us stay focused. And then as the year progresses, I find myself kind of getting back into the habits that I had before of checking my phone when I don't need to, spending time, you know, sometimes good time laughing at hysterical reels. Sometimes I'm just literally mindlessly scrolling. And so I felt like, man, I need to recalibrate. I need to refocus. And so what is going to be my focus? And so I wrote down the word groundwork, which to me feels like I want to do the deep foundational things for whatever I need to do next. And because I'm going to focus on those things, I need to recalibrate and kind of move away some of the distractions. And so years ago, I forget who it was, this guy wrote an article, Turning My Smartphone into a Dumb Phone.
Yeah.
And in the article, there was like 40 things you could do. It was everything from turning off your notifications, deleting apps. Like he even made his gray scale. So like that does something to your brain when your phone isn't colored. And, you know, so what I, you know, and he basically wrote like, you know, take it or leave it, like use what you want, don't use what you want. But I think it's a good practice to get into. And that's essentially what we do in January is we turn our smartphone into a dumb phone. But this is the first time that I'm like, I need to do it again this year. I just feel like I have some foundational, deep work stuff that I need to do for our businesses and for our family. And I am too distracted by doing these thin, surfacey things that do matter, but I could probably take a break from.
Yeah.
You know? And so Brooke and I talked about it, and I think that is an important aspect of it, is like when you need to recalibrate, there's probably many conversations you need to have with the people in your life. Because like I compare it to sort of like fasting. Like if I'm going to fast and not eat, I need to talk to my wife about that and make sure that, hey, I'm going to miss meals. Is that okay for our family? Is that okay for you? You know, I will probably need some different style of groceries. I will, you know, like, or even not even fasting, just changing your diet. Like I'm going to eat healthy. Can we get rid of all the chips in the house? Like, can we, you know, like if you're making a sort of recalibration, you need to have conversations about it. And so I think a lot of times we think like, and fitness is just such an easy one to talk about because most people want to be more fit. They want to be more physically healthy or skinnier or whatever, like whatever goal. Like for me, my goal is I don't want to think about having my shirt off at the beach. Like that is the goal. So that goal isn't attached to any weight. It's just more of attached to a way that I feel physically.
Yeah.
And so if I want to recalibrate my physical health and lose some weight or get healthier or gain muscle or whatever it is, I think that to myself, and I keep that to myself, and I do that by myself, the likelihood of me succeeding is very thin, is very slim, because Brooke cooks most of our meals. And so if I'm not having a conversation with her about this sort of physical recalibration, then it's not going to be successful. And so the word groundwork, like I'm kind of jumping all over, but let me.
You're making sense.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I know it's hard when you just start talking and then you're like, am I
Sometimes
saying anything?
I start a conversation and I have no idea where it's going, but I hope that I get there.
Yeah. I mean, I can relate to that. Like, I feel like, yeah, and you're calling it like thin, and I agree. It's like, it's surface level. I'm not saying it's surfacey and that it's fake.
No.
Not that kind of surface level, but just like, it's the everyday stuff that just has to happen.
Yeah.
But then that ends up being your whole life.
But
and
I also
you never get to do this other thing down here.
And I think we say all the surface stuff that has to happen, but there's probably a good amount or a chunk of things in that probably don't have to happen.
Yes, and we've meshed them all together. And so
we end up filling that surface, from top to bottom. We fill that surface all the way across our daily life, and then we go across it and we never dive deep to taste and see the richness that life has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
And so Brooke and I started having this conversation, and I was like, okay, my biggest fear because like when we do no social media in January, we're in it together. But
and this is a great example. And we strongly communicate that to our audience.
Yeah.
It's the same as you looping me in on you're going to eat healthier.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's going to change how I buy groceries.
Yeah.
We really let people know about January because it's important to both of us.
Yes. And so with me taking a break, I do tend to do the lion's share of our social media. Excuse me. And so there is some actual fear in that. Same with the voice stuff. Like, man, I was fearful. Like, are we going to be able to do this podcast? Are we going to be able to communicate and do some of the things that we do? And so like me taking a break from my phone is like, okay, well, if I'm not doing it, is Brooke going to do it? How are we going to communicate about it? How are we going to be respectful towards each other about it and things like that? And so I would say when you're in a season where you feel like, oh, I need to recalibrate whatever area of life, whether it's emotional, physical, spiritual, family, relational, that like there are so many different areas of our lives we can recalibrate at any time, or just kind of refocus on, or, try to re-energize. Like, there needs to be communication with the ones in your life about that. Because if there is no communication, if those conversations don't happen with Brooke and I, then I maybe last a week, or maybe last a day, or maybe like it doesn't even get off the ground because I never set a time where it started. And so like one of the conversations we had was, okay, after the tea of the month is done, I'm going to delete apps off my phone. I'm going to spend an evening while we're, either watching TV or just sitting on the couch doing this. And that's what I did last night. Mm-hmm. And so I find myself instantly feeling like, man, this was the right move.
Yeah.
Like, and I definitely feel like the Lord just has things he wants us to do. Like, and they might seem insignificant, and he might, and like, Brooke wasn't feeling this way. So it's not like, in our family, we need to do this. It was just like me specific. I was being called out and convicted of just like, you have fallen back into the ruts this year that you said you weren't going to, of just like doing thin things, wasting time. And there are deep, important projects that I've put on your heart and put on your plate that you are ignoring. And so for me, it was like, man, I hope that as I walk with Jesus, and this would be my prayer for everyone listening, that as we walk with Jesus and as we follow Jesus closer and closer and closer, the time from conviction to action gets shorter and shorter.
Yeah.
As an 80-year-old, I want to instantly jump from what the Lord into what the Lord is calling me to do much quicker than I did when I was 30. Although physically I might be a slower jumper, but spiritually,
let's just hope he doesn't call you to
to jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To
start pole
long
vaulting.
jumping.
Oh, nice. And so, yeah, I just feel like since this has been on my sort of heart and soul, I would share it here.
Well, Well, yeah, and I think I sort of have two thoughts. One, like this time you're taking a break because you see that all this surfacey, thin stuff up here is keeping you from doing XYZ, these deeper things down here. That's one form of a social media break. In January, we take a break simply for the practice of taking a break.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's sort of two different reasons.
Yep.
I'm not saying we don't work on deeper things then, but that's not like
that's a
the
rhythmic practice in sort of like not living culturally, but living spiritually.
Because every time we do the break in January, I see it a month later when I'm back on my phone. I get multiple messages from people. Oh, I would love to do that someday, but I could never do it. My business would crumble.
Yeah.
I could never do it because my business, it's almost always business related. It's very rarely somebody being like, I'm just too addicted.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's the people with businesses that they run online and they think, I just can't. I absolutely can't.
And we 100% wrestle with that.
Yeah. And I just so badly want to push back and be like, I would never say this. This is what I'm thinking. If you leaving Instagram for 7 days makes your business crumble, you need to do some groundwork in your business way more than you think you do.
Right. That's a good, and that's
like some deeper, it should not crumble in 7 days. You might crumble. So maybe the lesson you need to learn is that you are not your business.
And I think sometimes like for me, it's like initially that's the chair behind, well, I don't want my business to do bad. But really the 6 chairs behind is I'm addicted. And I like the feeling of watching dumb stuff on Reels or people liking and commenting on my stuff. Like I like that feeling. They've designed it for me to like that feeling.
Well, yeah. I also think maybe in those chairs behind us, it's a form. It feels like a part of your business you can control.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think it's a control thing. That if I give this up, I have no control over my business or my life. Swirl, panic, Google bridges.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
I don't know.
Yeah, and so I just like I guess I'll share some just practical things that I'm doing in case you feel like, man, I think I need to do this. So like for me, there's like there's 3 big important groundwork things I need to do. One is we're launching a new business, which some of you may know about because it was in order confirmation emails. And so like that business needs some love and some, it needs a good foundation to launch well on. And so there's some coordination that needs to happen. There's some creativity that needs to happen. There are lots of words that need to be written, which is always a challenge. So that's one part. I've had an e-course that I've recorded a month, maybe 2 months ago. And granted, I was waiting for a new computer that could actually handle the editing and stuff like that. So that needs to be done. And then for me, the painting needs to be, I want to sell the paintings. They're just stacked in a closet.
We need to get them out of our house.
And so, but I also feel like it's a gift that God has given me. And I'm going to step into that with confidence and not try to just like, I'm not going to take the talents and bury them in the ground. Like if I have them, I'm going to use them and I'm going to let them glorify him. And so these are the 3 things that I found myself avoiding because I was posting on Instagram or whatever, like, fill in the blank. And so last night I deleted any app that I find myself checking when I'm bored. And so there's a variety of apps in that category. So like the first ones were obviously Instagram and YouTube. Those are where I probably spend the primary amount of my time if I'm on my phone. And then I deleted all the real estate apps because I like checking real estate. Then I deleted the stock and portfolio apps because I check that just to check it, just because. And so, my phone is basically now like, and here's the thing that the guy wrote about in the article is like, don't delete the United app from your phone, or like, I have the Chick-fil-A app and I have the Starbucks app. And like, those are things that I have because I use them throughout my day. And so for me, the 2 big things that I didn't want to lose were I didn't want to lose being able to listen to music while I ride my bike to the gym. And I didn't want to lose listening to my audiobooks while I clean the house. Those are 2 things that help me be more productive. But outside of that, I've just kind of like everything's gone or it's in a folder within it. Like it's just, and so my home screen is very simple and very plain. I've had notifications turned off on my phone for years now. And it's just a way to like, again, and I found myself picking it up today and just being like, yeah, I don't need to pick this up.
Yeah. And all of this is coming from the bigger umbrella of you felt like you needed to recalibrate.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, I also feel like I need to recalibrate. Mine has nothing to do with my phone.
Where does yours?
Like that's where yours is, and that's where you feel it. For me, it's like we're in July. We're halfway through the year. My word of the year, one of my words of the year was consistency, which I have done in a lot of places.
100%.
Like I really have. But where I need to recalibrate is to consistently re-engage. And I'm not saying I'm totally checked out. I'm not completely in screensaver mode.
Right.
I know that I'm not. But
And I know that you're not.
Good. I don't know. That is always a reminder I need to myself. Engage. Show up today. And then go to sleep.
Earlier.
Earlier, which is honestly part of it. Like, and you'll be all right. You'll have enough. I don't want to call it energy because I don't just mean like, woo, like
Spirit
caffeinated
fingers.
spirit fingers energy.
I like that though.
But I think there's something somewhere within that I'm like worried that if I use it all today, and again, I'm not just saying energy, but I'll just use the phrase, if I use it all today, I won't have enough for tomorrow. So I'm going to withhold. Dang it. I was supposed to wait more episodes for crying. I'm getting teary-eyed because this is coming to me in the moment, this realization. And so some of it is very, very literal and like practical. I require a lot of sleep, physical sleep, and I don't like that about myself.
You feel like it makes you feel weak.
I'm lazy or I'm not productive or I'm whatever, that like you can sleep for 7 hours and crush it. And I'm like, I had 9.5 and I'm on the struggle bus today.
Yeah.
But like, and that's just, and going back to what I said, that if I use it all today, I won't have enough for tomorrow. And that's just, again, with the level of what I'm talking about, it's just not true. That's a very like, it's like this, what's the word? Like a self-limiting scarcity mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And so it
palms closed.
Yeah. Like it makes me not fully show up for every day. But when I show up for every day, I actually, I start to gain momentum. Like it compounds in a positive way.
100%.
To actually do the opposite of what I'm so fearful of.
Yeah.
It's easier to get up and keep rolling that next day when I was rolling the day before.
Yeah. Like I've kind of hit a sweet spot with the gym where it's like, I was going really inconsistently and I was having these days where I was like, I'm so sore. Is it even worth it? Like, I don't want to move. I don't want to clean. I don't want to do anything because I'm literally so sore. I don't want to move. And now as I've been rolling and going almost 5 days a week, every week for a few weeks, I find myself having even more eagerness and energy to go more. Yeah. But man, that's good, babe.
That's mine.
Yeah.
Which isn't quite as like
there's
tangible or like
it's
not really written on the board.
Yeah.
But like I just need to remember that.
For me, this recalibration was very much a digital sort of like basically more distraction based. Let's remove some of the distractions that you've kind of fallen back into, TJ, so that you can find time to do some of the things that are really important. Like, I'm very, very excited for this business that we're going to start. Like I have been excited. It is sort of like, it's unlike anything. It's similar to the family plan calendar, but to me, it's even cooler because it's like, this didn't exist. And because of our ideas and
the version we've made didn't exist.
And so now it's like we've made a physical, like to me, there is I find so much deep satisfaction in creating physical things. And so like, I'm very excited, but because of the distractions, it just like has sort of just like swayed in the wind and so like for me, there's like really easy, like, my phone was an easy thing to change to help this recalibration. What I'm trying to get at is for you, I believe it's going to be more challenging because it's not like, oh, I can turn my phone into show up mode. And so I know you just thought of this on the spot, And so I'm going to ask you a question on the spot. And if you don't have an answer, that's fine. We can just move on. But what is your version of turning your smartphone into a dumb phone to recalibrate yourself to show up? Are there going to bed early? That would be one that we would start with.
Going to bed early would be one. The other one, another one that, and again, this is not an exhaustive list. What I'm thinking of in the moment.
We're on the spot, yeah.
Is that there's all this stuff out there, and there's some value to this, but don't live by your to-do list, and you don't always have to be productive, and blah, blah, blah. And I get that. You don't need to be those things, and you are not your to-do list, and I know all that. But because and this is just me, because I'm okay, yeah, don't want to be that, don't want to do that. I don't write anything down. And then I'm swirling in my head. I'm a very forgetful person. So it's already a terrible idea for me not to write things down. And so I have started, even just a little bit, I've been writing down more. And anywhere, I don't even need to necessarily go find it again.
Right.
I just need to get it out of my head.
Yep.
And then I'm not so afraid I'm going to forget it or what does it mean or anything like that. But if I can show up, it's easier for me to show up when things are written down. And it's not on a checklist. It's just written down
and you've
somewhere
been on either Saturday or Sunday.
Organize later or not. And I've started doing that, even just in my notes app. I've been doing this for a couple months. Every Saturday, I write down what matters most. We call it our work sprint. What are we sprinting towards? What's the one thing? And I'm not allowed to write more than one thing. What's my work sprint, my house sprint? What do I need to remember? What gives me energy? These are my categories. What's draining me, what's filling me up. Sometimes I write, you need to remember.
People are for sure going to ask that you share this on somewhere.
Anyway, I go through all that. And then I start going day by day. Sunday, to-do list.
Yep.
Monday, to-do list. Appointments, things to do, stuff like that. I put my groceries or meals on there. Things I need to shop for so that I'm being smart with what I'm purchasing. And I'm not just oh, those are cute. And it goes into the cart. Things I actually need. So-and-so needs socks. So-and-so needs a new size of underwear. So-and-so, because you forget and then.
Well, I've been working out, so.
I know, I get it. But I forget and then I'm oh man, Sunny really needs that. And then I buy something I don't like. I buy something we don't need.
Yeah.
I order something in a panic.
Yep.
All that. So it has been really helpful to write it all down. It's actually been very life-giving and it's allowed me to show up
and have,
very, very practically. And I get to the end of the week and I don't even know if 50% of it's checked off.
Yeah.
That's not the point. So that would be one.
And circling back to the first thing you said was that Brooke and I kind of do this in business or just in life is what's the one thing that life is hectic and it is unexpected. That our kids could get sick tomorrow and our whole week is just changed. Yeah. That's a reality that we live in. I could get sick tomorrow and my whole week has changed, And so within that, we understand that life is unexpected. Things happen. People need help or friends need something or, someone doesn't feel well or whatever. There's just a million things that could go the car breaks down or what, again, so many examples. And I'm going to spend the rest of this episode giving those examples.
A bird could fly into your window.
Bird could fly in your window. Bird could fly into your face.
A new window.
Bird could fly in your chest. And so I think it's super helpful to have that mentality of okay, if everything in this week goes poorly or we use it a lot for launches, if we can only do 5 things to launch these shirts, we know those 5 things. And it's a similar mentality we have towards our weeks now is if everything goes off the rails.
I mean, I could even, you just said pick one thing and then you said 5, but I know that launching a collection, it's very hard to pick one, but if we had to, it'd be put products on the website.
Yeah.
If nothing else happens,
nothing else gets done, we
which
can't
would
take
be
a single,
sheer chaos.
Either a piece of content or write a single
literally
word.
That is the number one.
Yep.
Turn on website.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I think that is especially for you, we use that, we both use that, but I think especially for you, as you try to show up more, or even as you enter a season of like, I'm going to recalibrate myself because I've been showing up less and I want to show up more because I know that there's fullness and richness in life when I show up. I'm going to start doing this. And that has been a huge game changer for you. And, you know, I know that there are so many people who listen who are like, I am Brooke, it me. And so I'm going to push.
Well, yeah, because I fall into the, if I'm going to show up, well, watch me.
Right.
I'm going to be freaking incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show up in every way possible and do all the things. And everybody's going to be
Yep.
amazed, including myself.
And then.
Whoa, expectations way too high.
Way too high.
Brooke's crashing.
Yep.
Here she goes.
There she goes. We lost her.
Down.
Oh, she's down. We lost her.
Yeah.
And so I would encourage those of you listening who are like, it me, to, I'm gonna push Brooke a little bit to share sort of maybe the template or the outline or some version of what she does, because I do think that it would be super beneficial to the people who are like, I need that. I want to show up, because, you know, like circling it back to Jesus, Jesus wants us to show up in the lives that he's given us. Our lives are a precious gift from God, and that gift needs to be opened and unwrapped and experienced daily. And so if we are too low energy to experience that gift, we are missing out on the opportunity to see the goodness of God, to see the glory of God, to reflect his amazing love to the people in our lives. And so if you need to make a list on Saturdays so that you can show up Sunday through the next Saturday, then do it.
I mean, and that's what it is.
It is. And if you need to turn your smartphone into a dumb phone so that you can show up in the deep, life-giving richness that God has for you, then do it. Like, these things are worth it, and they are not optional. And we've made them optional, and we've cluttered our lives with thin things. And God is not a thin God. He is deep and wide and vast and glorious. And he is waiting for us to experience him more fully every day. And if we need to make some sacrifices to do that, they are worth making.
Yeah. And on top of it all, like, you know, it says that he gives us our daily bread.
Yeah.
He doesn't give us enough bread for the month or for the year. And that's where I unknowingly, I'm not consciously, I unconsciously land there.
You're like, I'm going to hold on to my patience.
I'm going to gather it all, and I'm going to have enough to go from here to there.
Yeah.
And I can't, it's too far.
This is actually a great story, kind of dealing with that. We're back to an hour, baby.
I know.
You did a great job.
Thanks.
I'll tell this story in the one. We're making this list behind us. So the top is July focus.
Oh, I know where you're
We have some content rhythms. We try to do our content in rhythms so that we can actually do it. And then we have some just big to-dos on here. And so one of the big to-dos is to build the website for our new business.
One of my to-dos.
That's one of Brooke's to-dos. And so I wrote build TR site. TR is an abbreviation. And we were talking about it, and we're having this conversation. I'm like, so I can see it in Brooke's eyes. Something has flipped in her that she is panicked. If she could clench her cheeks as tight as mine, they would be clenched. And so I'm like, okay, so I'm looking at the list, and I'm like, okay, order fall collection, like that's not hers. Build TR site, okay, that's hers. Launch July tea of the month, well, that's kind of both of us. Edit e-course, that's mine. Painting website, that's mine. June's art camp, well, that's kind of just a life thing. Make summer bucket list, I mean, that should be fun. And so I'm just like, why does she seem so overwhelmed? There's really only two things on that list that are hers. One of them is kind of a big thing, but it's not like, I mean, she's done stuff like that before. So I'm asking, bro, what's going on? Like, why are you feeling this way? She's like, well, I just don't know if I'll have enough time. And I'm like, I'm just looking at the list, and I'm like, am I missing something? And so I know what's happening in her head almost immediately. And I said, Brooke, I want you to read what it says. And it says build TR site. It does not say make all the content that we will ever need for Instagram, YouTube, podcast, ads, reels for all of time for TR. It just means that you literally need to build the website. And I think that is a prime example of sort of what people do. And what you tend to do is like, I now need to do everything. So I'm already out of time. I'm already late.
I'm already behind.
And it's like, I think sometimes we just need to see what actually needs to get done.
Yes.
And what actually needs to be given.
Yep.
Like patience is a great example. We only have so much patience, but if we use it all, it's not going to be gone tomorrow. We will have more.
Yeah. And that's why, going back to my silly little thing in my notes app, which like even now, and it works for me. I've been doing it for months. And even now there's a small part of me that doesn't like the system because it's not very cool. It's not very flashy. I didn't get to use a cool app that somebody designed for this whole purpose. It just feels like, you know, and that's the idea of like the tool won't change you if the practice isn't in place.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't journal every day, a new pen is not going to suddenly make you do it. And I even feel that about my own thing, and the practice is in place and it's working. But that's why I break down things day by day, because if I see a whole list of what I need to do in the week,
you will put it all on Monday.
Yes. I panic on a Monday that I haven't done things.
You won't even put it all on
that
Monday.
I literally can't even do. I can't take June to art until Thursday. But I feel overwhelmed on Monday
that you haven't done it yet.
That I haven't done it yet.
It's physically an impossibility.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And so I'll share it. It like I feel the need to be like, it's not very great because it's not flashy. It just works for me. And
which makes it great.
Yes, which does in turn make it great. But I have silly things on there like, you know, I know on Monday is the day I pay the babysitter. And I write it down because then I don't have to think about it the rest of the week, and I do it. And I don't need to do something on Monday just because I have more time.
Yeah.
I'll do that on Wednesday. And then I can actually do things every day instead of panicking so hard, peaking so hard, and then crashing so hard, usually on a Monday.
Yeah.
That the rest of my week is just toast.
Yeah. Wow. This is one of those episodes that I think we knew what we were going to talk about, but I think that the Lord kind of guided us to where we got. And I do think that it's going to be beneficial to people. And if it is, the YouTube comment would be a help, that we're not just rambling incoherently, because that's sometimes the vibe that I feel that I'm doing. It's not great. There's always just like a little panic at the end of an episode, which is like,
when I see that clock and I'm like, an hour and 2 minutes.
No way.
Oh,
no one's still here.
No.
There's not a single person still listening except my dad. Hey, Dad. But if you are still listening, we really, really do appreciate it that you spend some time with us. And yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making us part of your week.
Okay, I love you. Bye.